Hey, what's up YouTube? This video is going to go on the Prepper playlist. We're going to talk about the world situation, particularly near Taiwan. Not a day goes by on YouTube that I don't see videos like these posted. China's going to invade Taiwan. When are they going to invade? China just started invading. They're invading right now as we speak. This is a prepping channel that I subscribe to. Oh, well, there you go. China's taking Taiwan right now. Okay. In my video, we're going to talk about what are the prospects, should we worry about this, what would happen if this kicked off. Now I'm going to discuss this mostly from a perspective of the military equipment involved. But first I have to say, overall, it would be a horrible idea for China to try a land invasion of Taiwan. It makes no sense. It would make more sense to do a protracted air campaign, but they would never survive world public opinion. But anyway, that island right there you see is Taiwan. Okay? Now, to invade Taiwan, China would have to cross a body of water that's called the Taiwan Strait, which is 100 miles wide at its most narrow point. Now, a troop transport ship is big and slow. It would take several hours for them to move forces across that strait. What would happen in that time? Well, Taiwan has a lot of anti-ship missiles. They have Harpoon missiles because we keep selling them to them. Now, a Harpoon missile can be launched from a ship, from land, from the air, and they can even be launched from submarines. Okay, Taiwan has these missiles. There's a ship-launched version there, you see. These missiles are no joke. That's a Harpoon missile. Can you imagine what that'll do to a big, slow transport that's crowded with troops? You see how big these anti-ship missiles are right under the wing of the airplane. Now, most likely, Taiwan would deliver anti-ship missiles using fighter aircraft. In fact, Taiwan, that's an F-16, and those are Harpoon missiles under it. Taiwan, I have heard, has about 200 F-16s that we sold them. This brings me to my next point, the air power of Taiwan. This is from Wikipedia, okay, unclassified. Might not be up to date, but it's a good start. So they have a tactical fighter wing composed of Mirage fighters. They have 2 tactical fighter wings composed of F-16s. And yet another tactical fighter wing that's composed of the F-CK. It's the FU. That's their clone of an F-16. Okay, so Taiwan actually has quite a little air force for a little island. And you're going to have a Battle of Britain scenario where the Chinese planes have to fly over to Taiwan, and then Taiwan is defending the home turf, right? That's their indigenous copy. Yes, Taiwan clones our stuff too, okay? And they call that the FU because there was a point where we weren't going to sell them F-16s, so they just copied it, but then we sold them anyway. So now they have a clone of the F-16s as well. Do you know how fast an F-16 comes in compared to a transport boat? I'm just saying. Now, here's a topographical map of Taiwan. The darker parts are mountains. Notice how many mountains there are. This is a disaster for invaders. There's only a few beaches that they would have to land at, and those beaches are all there. The artillery is all dialed into those beaches. It's going to be a massacre on those beaches. In fact, this is an 8-inch gun. It's a 240 millimeter howitzer. Notice how it's on an elevator. This thing can basically disappear into this bunker that's built into the side of a mountain on an island that's guarding the straits. These things pop up from an armored fucking bunker and shoot. I mean, that actually warms my heart. But speaking of artillery, Taiwan has, I've heard they have 29 HIMARS. That's a HIMARS. It's basically a 6-shot version of the MLRS. It's a half-size version of the MLRS mounted on a wheeled vehicle, okay? So MLRS, those rockets carry sub-munitions. Now, this is actually a cluster bomb, but it's the same idea. Every little one of those canisters is a sub-munition, right? So a cluster bomb, much like the MLRS missiles, they throw so many of these, it's called the steel rain. And then they airburst over your head. All right, now this is a TACMS. The TACMS can also be fired from a HIMARS. All right, it can fire either 6 regular rockets or one giant big missile called an ATACMS. All right, that thing has a longer range. Can you imagine being on the beach? You just land on the beach, and then that thing lands on you. That's going to be a bad day. Now, if by some miracle they did manage to land an invasion force, they are going to be facing 169,000 active military personnel and 1.66 million reservists. So at most, the Chinese could get 50,000 on the beaches. Not even that, but 50,000 against, 1.66 million reservists. How do you fight over 1 million people who have like machine guns and all the rest? You don't, man. You don't. China would also be facing around 1,200 main battle tanks. Now, most of Taiwan's tanks are M60s, or it's basically an M60 turret on an older body, right? So, but they have advanced sensors. They have modern night vision and all that. All right. That's the M60. Now, it's an older tank, but can you imagine? You're just an infantryman on the beach with a rifle, and 1,000 tanks come charging at you with all the support, and it's just going to be a massacre. Not only that, but in addition to the upgraded M60s, Taiwan is actually getting Abrams. In fact, they've already got a few. They're training on them right now. They've already got the first batch, and pretty soon they're going to have a bunch of Abrams, which is just it's basically a super tank. Not only that, but they also have tens of thousands of armored personnel carriers and infantry fighting vehicles, some of which are basically tank destroyers with big guns. This is their Clouded Leopard. It's their indigenous IFV. It's very similar to an LAV that our U.S. Marines have used, and they've got tens of thousands of vehicles. Really, the biggest danger would be if China could get total air superiority and pin down all of Taiwan's forces. But Taiwan has the Patriot missile system, and they also have what they call Skybow, which looks to be like a clone of the Patriot missile system, right? So those are effective anti-air defenses. All right, so that's all assuming that our Nimitz carrier, that's our Nimitz carrier. We have 10 Nimitz carriers, and they're basically our battle stars, okay? So even if our carriers didn't show up and join in the fight, which they could certainly do, but even just fighting Taiwan without their allies intervening would be really, the situation is so bad for China. I personally am surprised that the United States hasn't kind of gotten Taiwan to provoke China just so they can try this and get destroyed. Really. My conclusion, China's military is not meant for this fight. China's military would be way better in another Korean conflict where they could bring to bear all their numbers and their land forces. This is a death trap for China. Now, it doesn't mean they won't try, but this is why it would be very, very stupid. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm out.